Do you remember the time Pat was in hospital for the second go, and it was really the first time that he had delirium? I found that very frightening and confusing until I realised what was wrong. Do you remember that?
I do. What made you remember or realise what was wrong with him?
Well, it just didn't make sense. And what he was saying, wasn't the Pat I remembered and the person that I knew.
He was in the hospital then for pneumonia. Then he came home and we were trying to get him reconditioned really. After I think maybe he was in for about 10 days, reconditioned so he could start chemotherapy. And he wasn't eating well. He was he just spent all of his time in bed. We were heartbroken trying to get him out of bed. He was very constipated, very, very drowsy, didn't want to talk particularly. Added to which we know that Daddy suffered from depression at periods during his life. And with the news of the cancer return, most likely was experiencing depression again. And that's hard to tease out which thing it is, but I think he was still experiencing delirium.
Wasn't it interesting that a lot of the things that I found that he had delirium about were animals?
I never thought of that.
There was a bird over in the corner of the room, and he saw insects on the bedspread, and he was sweeping them off. I don't know if you were there at that time.
I didn't.
And he saw another bird as well, perched on the end of the bed.
And I suppose obviously when he was in pain, that probably escalated the delirium too. Yes, maybe obvious.
I suppose whenever we could see the agitation, trying to work out what had caused the agitation. Was it constipation? Was it pain? And then just give medication for all of those things, because it wasn't possible to discern by talking to Dad which it was that was causing him distress. So we just needed to blanket give those medications to try and to solve those problems so he would be less agitated.
Yes, I think he found it quite hard to articulate what the exact problem was. He just felt, his favourite word was miserable.
Miserable.
How do you feel? Miserable. I hate that word now. But he just couldn't articulate exactly what the problem was.
Yes, he had his first chemotherapy. He was readmitted to hospital because he wasn't doing so well and he was starting to see things. And I went over one morning to be there for the ward round. And then we had a discussion. Yes, he definitely has delirium. And we talked about the fluctuating nature of that, about how he's very drowsy during the daytime, doesn't want to eat and drink, doesn't want to really converse. He's very grumpy, not his usual self. And then at night time, thinking that he's not sleeping at all, having these weird hallucinations, up and down to the toilet continually. So there was that agitation, fluctuation.
Yeah, there's a few times that he couldn't remember kind of not just what ward he was in, but like even what hospital, because he was, he would maybe go to sleep and there would be a bit of a movement to another place and everything became very disorientating and a bit confusing. And I can imagine, that could only add to those symptoms potentially by having that lack of consistency. I think there was a few things we had, which was like, there's a board up, which was maybe, there was a sheet that we had that you'd done, which was probably as useful for the nursing team as much as for him. But there were some questions on it they could ask him that I think allowed him to recheck back into reality, which was good. But I think I remember there's one of the boards up that was in one of the hospitals and the days didn't quite marry up to his time there. So
no, because he moved to that bed on his birthday, and then it was his birthday for 4 days.
Yeah, the nights did become pretty challenging, and I think my lack of understanding of what happened meant that I didn't know what medication he was on, he should be on, he should be getting, should he get more? I didn't know that I could ask for more. I think and that was probably just down to me, just not knowing what to do. So I think, having a conversation like that, and obviously the nursing staff changed every night. So, you know, you could see somebody maybe for a couple of days and then it'd be somebody else on a different shift. So I think I felt very ill-equipped to know what to do best for him, you know, so it was a pretty steep learning curve that way.
And that it was when you had said it's their job to help. And because I've never been in an experience where a close family member's needed that much care in a hospital, I had no idea. So I think that was helpful for me to go, am I allowed to ask the nurses? They're like, you buzz for everything.
To the bathroom at night time, and again, he was hallucinating, and you know, he thought I was trying to put him into the corridor and not into the bathroom, and he was confused, and he started getting, you know, quite irate like with me. Kind of made me feel like I was about 12 years old again. Wasn't always great. And I think you maybe, Emma, said, you know, ask the nurses, and so that was great for me, because then I just rang the buzzer. They came and I said, I think he needs the bathroom, and then they were able to sort him out with whatever he needed. I could go and still be his son who was there to support him, not his, you know, carer and cleaner and toileter and all the other things that needed to happen. And for me, it took a lot to say, I need help. Times I felt I really wanted them to lead on some of the things, you know, on those decisions. And I was just there to be his son and to be alongside him. And I definitely didn't want to say and what he should or shouldn't have, because I couldn't pronounce the things, never mind know what they were going to do. And
I think the poor man had delirium drummed into him from the very first time he was admitted for his tongue resection. We were on the ball about trying to prevent delirium. But I think that knowledge, him having knowledge about delirium really helped, because he was then able to, whenever he had slightly more lucid periods, he was able to say, well, you know, I think that was delirium. I don't think that was what was really happening.
But I think like in one of his hospital stays, it had said that he was a supporter of a specific football team, and the girl who was his nurse, one of his daytime nurses, her boyfriend played for that football team, and she would walk him up and down the corridor talking about his football team. And it was just such a simple thing that he would probably never even have thought of to communicate. But because it was on about me chart, that she then read it and said, oh my goodness, there's a connection. And that was it was lovely.
And it was so reassuring. Whenever you came in and he would say, oh, I had a conversation with such and such, and he was able to tell you about that.
Yeah, it made him more human, didn't it, really, and more of a person, you know, in his own right. Yeah. It was very valuable, I thought, that information for the staff that was at his bed. Yeah.
I think one of the things that struck me was how much he relied on the safety that he found in you, Mum. He constantly, where's your mum? What's happening with your mum? What time will Helen be up at? He continually just wanted to know what was happening with you, when he would next see you, because you made him feel safe.
And I think at that time, we were in the fortunate position that we could cover about 20 hours a day with him, because his need was so great and he was so agitated that he settled more with the family, and it took a lot of pressure off then the nursing team, that they didn't have to have someone, you know, at his door.
And he thought the toilet was across the corridor, and he refused to go into what was the toilet, because he thought he had to go across the corridor. And then you said to me, well, there's no sign telling you where the toilet is.
No.
So we got one. Yeah. I think it's really important that everyone's given the opportunity and the knowledge of how to help that person who is their loved one, the person they're invested on seeing either recover or die with dignity, as it was for our dad, that they're given the tools and the support to be there as they can be there.